Welcome back, and thank you for making us part of your Friday morning. With more businesses moving to high deductible health plans coupled with health savings accounts, we wanted to find all the ways you can take advantage of that savings account. Gilmore, Jason, Mahler, CPA Charlie Heid is here to help us better understand HSAs and how they can help us save for down the road. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Amanda.
Well, first of all, what is an HSA? How does it work?
Yeah, so a health savings account is a tax advantaged account, just like an IRA, that you fund. Either yourself or your employer will put contributions into your account, and you get a tax deduction for those contributions. And then when you withdraw the money out of the account, it's tax-free, including the earnings, as long as you took it out to pay for medical expenses. And that is the piece that really people need to think about. A lot of people look at an HSA as I put my money in and I'm going to immediately take it out to pay bills. I'm going to propose that you look at it differently. You use your HSA to fund just like any other investment and let it grow tax-free. I got a deduction for my contribution, and I'm going to get a earnings on that. And the key is there's no requirement that you have to take out the money in the same year you put it in to pay for medical like you do in a flex spending account.
Okay, so I have an HSA, and yeah, as you mentioned, I kind of use it the way that a lot of people do. I'm going to pay my bill with it when, I get from the hospital or whatever, or if I go to the pharmacy or whatever. So how can we use this as an investment strategy? Help us understand.
Yeah, so let's first focus on how much can I put into the account each year. And so that's important to know. So let's use you in your case. It might be a family plan. So you're participating in your health insurance, and it's you and your family. So you're able to put in $7,300 a year. Now, obviously, you're not like me. You're not over 55, so you can't do the additional catch-up. But there's an additional $1,000 if you're 55 or older that you can put in. So that would be $8,300. And if I'm an individual, it's $3,650. So think about that. $7,300 goes into your account. But here's what I'm saying is, don't use the money you just put into that HSA to cover, say, you have a $100 medical bill that's you have to pay because you haven't been to the doctor much. You're young, you're healthy. So rather than using that $100 out of your HSA, just let the $8,300 or $7,300 you put in sit and let it earn for you. Now, here's the key, is that money, people might say, well, geez, how if I am short on cash in the future, am I not going to be able to access that? You can access it because you already know that you have a medical expense for $100 that you could have used and paid with HSA money, but you didn't. Keep that receipt because it doesn't matter. It can be 5 years later, and you've been building up in the account all those qualified medical expenses from 5 years ago. You can use to pull money out if you need to get to the cash.
Yeah, and obviously, if you don't have the money to, pay your medical bill, maybe not use this strategy, but you can really use it to work for you. What else do people need to know about HSAs? Is there any,
So the HSA is your account, and it's not your employer's. You leave the company you're with and you go someplace else, that account goes with you. You can move it from the current institution it's with, whether it's a bank or it's a brokerage, and you can put it into one that you've opened up and roll it over tax-free. But it's your account. It is, an asset of yours. The other piece I think people need to realize is when you hit the age of Medicare, so 65, you can no longer contribute to an HSA. It's not allowed. But the money you've built up in that HSA prior to that time can be used to pay for medical expenses that aren't covered by Medicare.
Sure.
And a big one is those gap policy premiums. Now you've got this money to pay those premiums.
So we're thinking ahead, right? In our younger years, thinking ahead for the future, making these accounts work for us, getting every little penny, Charlie. That's what we want.